The stories are endless. And I finished up with this on the military side. I'll say no more. Check out why this gentleman is doing his 33rd Ironman.
I'm Rob Ladewig, and Boulder will be my 32nd Ironman, and I'm running the Ironman in honor of my oldest brother, Melvin Ladewig, who's been missing in action from Vietnam since 1968. My mom and dad raised 8 kids, 7 boys and a girl, and he was 27 and a half years in the Air Force, so my dad commissioned 5 of his boys into the Air Force as second lieutenants. Melvin was the oldest. He always wanted to fly. Went off to pilot training, and his first operational assignment was in Ubon, Thailand, and he was flying F-4s. He got to his first operational assignment in May of 1968. And that was during the time period where the fighting was escalating. And his squadron, they were called the Night Owls, and they flew armed reconnaissance missions at night most of the time. They were flying up north most of the time and looking for supply routes and targets and bombing and strafing those targets. His airplane was shot down on the 24th of August, 1968, and he had over 50 combat missions at that time. I was the one who answered the door. On a Saturday morning, the first airplane in his flight basically reported seeing a fireball. They didn't see any parachutes, and so basically his status was listed as missing in action. Our hope is that at some point, you know, they're working diligently, but it is not an easy thing, especially after 48 years. The chances of recovering remains is slim. We've got a memorial stone that is at the National Cemetery in Fort Logan, just outside of Denver, and his name is on the wall in Washington, D.C. I spent 25 and a half years in, and basically retired as a colonel in the Air Force. When my oldest brother went missing, he has a 1-year-old son, and his 1-year-old son grew up to become an Air Force pilot. That's our legacy, and it still continues today. My commitment is basically to complete an Ironman at least once a year, as long as I'm physically capable, until we get him home. When I cross the finish line, I'm always thinking, this is one more in the books for my oldest brother, and we'll look forward to the next one.
Robert Ladewig. Robert, where you at, buddy? Come on up. Said he was going to be here. Robert, here he comes. Come on. You can do better than that. I'm standing up for you. Robert, you are a true inspiration. Really, the inspiration is your brother and what he sacrificed. The stories of Ironman are endless, but one like this touches home because of so many of the people out there of the age groups they were around through Vietnam, and they know what it is in the history books. When you made that commitment for your brother to do Ironman, where'd that first thought come from when you did number 1?
When I did number 1, it was kind of a fluke because it was actually Kona in 2001 through the lottery. And so you called my name, and I remember that to this day. 2 years later was when in 2003, is when I made the commitment. And we've run an Ironman, at least one, every year since 2003. And it came to me just when you're looking at today's airmen, soldiers, sailors, all of the military and what they sacrifice, and what those folks went through, what the prisoners of war went through, especially in Vietnam, and those that did not come back, what sacrifices they and their families made. And I said, I'm going to do this in his memory, in his honor.
That's incredible. So his son, your nephew, went into the Air Force, and is he still in the Air Force?
He just, about 3 months ago, retired as a lieutenant colonel. He was flying KC-135s for the Alabama National Guard, and so now he's got one of those jobs flying for one of the big 3 airlines.
Well, I had a thought when you came up. You said you're going to do this every year as long as you can. If there's a year you can't, you're going to have to get him to keep it going. You know that, don't you?
I guess, unless I can talk my son, who's named Melvin, after my brother, if I can talk him and his wife into doing it.
Where's Melvin? Put your hand out, Melvin. There he is.
Or maybe my granddaughter, who she went to her first Ironman in Hawaii when she was 7 weeks old, and has been over there 5 times now. So maybe I can talk her into it when she's 18.
You spent 25 years in the military. Every day we can imagine what your thoughts are of your brother. When you're going through the 140.6 miles, every step you take is probably a step for him. You think about him the entire way?
I do, and especially since I followed in his footsteps, at least in the flying business. I was a navigator, an electronic warfare officer, flying B-52s and RC-135s. It takes a special breed to get on those airplanes, fly for 12 to 22 hours non-stop, and it's hard, it's physically demanding, and you know the Ironman is physically demanding. But what you want to do is you want to come back safe, and you want to have a successful mission. And that's kind of the thought process I go through.
It's easy as that. Come back safe, have a successful mission, and get to the finish line. I cannot wait to call you for number 32. I think I said 33. I added one. I'm sorry about that. So number 32. One more time. Robert, what an incredible story. He'll be out there with you all day. What's your race number?
383.
383. Number 383. He'll be out there.